I am going to share you a little bit on my view on innovation, and that will be more from a business perspective and not an academic point of view. Because as you will learn a little further on in my presentation, Epyc is not the average university spin-off. Since when I joined Epyc after it was launched, it was founded by two researchers. I decided to change the course, and so we really drifted away from the academic world rather quickly. So we don't have any, well, extensive research programs. We don't see innovation as a big thing, and as Melody called it, proper research. And one of the questions that was raised after her talk, is everything supported with proper research? Well, I'm not that kind of entrepreneur, and I'm not that kind of man. I have to say, a very modest view on innovation, and that modest view on innovation, that just helps me to and now I have to continue and be on the right screen. Well, that modest view on innovation, that helps us at Epyc to just do it. And we don't linger and wait, but we just, well, start and innovate all day long and every day. So, and you'll see, well, that is one of the reasons why I am not an academic. I want quick results, and I am not so much interested in the why something functions. I am only interested, or more interested, in the results. So and in my customers. So I would say, don't be afraid to innovate when you start something new. So innovating in our...
Wim, can I just interrupt you? Are you still showing the first slide, or do you want us to see other slides?
No, I am continuing. So
because I only see the first slide at this moment. Slide? Yeah.
Oops.
Maybe it's only me, but
no.
Here, the first one still.
Still only the first slide. I am sharing my.
Now I see just do it.
Okay, now you see just do it. Okay.
Right.
So that was yeah. Then you missed that real nice switch and that twist in my talk. So
okay, sorry.
Okay. So do you see now see the next slide?
Yeah. We see a cartoon coming.
That's strange, because on my second screen everything went right. So innovation is not a big thing in our world. In my view, it's about just being creative and setting your creativity free. So innovation is not inventing things, or not only inventing things. For us, innovation is doing the same thing, only a little differently, or combining two existing things, known knowledge, known things, known items, combining those two in an original way, and thus creating something new, a new experience. And what I would want you to remember from my talk today is that innovation is not reinventing the wheel, but just finding a new way of using that existing wheel. And a second thing that helped us a lot, and that helps us a lot, that innovation is always user-centered. So we always have our client, our customer first in the center. And innovation is always around the question, how can we help our customer and how can we make our customer more happy? Because if you linger and wait for the big idea and the big invention, I wish you good luck, but you'll be dead before you just launch it. So our view on innovation and our hands-on methodology, our hands-on way of working is we roll up the sleeves and we just get on with it. So that is the way, the mentality, the innovation mentality that we have at Epyc, the trial and error. We do it with small steps. We experiment with small proofs of concept. We just try and error. And the steps you see in this image, well, they don't always go up because sometimes we have a setback and we go in the wrong direction, and then we just have to start all over again. But yeah, that is, and the way up for us, for Epyc, is on top of the stairs is always our client. How can we make our client more happy? How can we help him in a better way? So in a business environment, in my opinion, innovation is more a quest of a unique selling proposition than it is of inventing something new. So to cut a long story short, you could also say that innovation in business environments is marketing. It's all about marketing. It's all about product development. So let me now tell you a little bit more about Epyc. Epyc is a KU Leuven, the University Leuven spin-off company founded in May 2001, not founded by me, for the record, but founded by two researchers who worked at Europace. And Europace is a network of European universities. And Wim van Petegem, you are, well, still linked to Europace, I think.
Well, Europace finished operations 2 years ago. So
2 years ago, so it changed name, or
no, it's just, well, the legacy of Europace is now taken over by EETN, the European Distance and E-Learning Network.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that, so
no worry.
It says a lot about how far I drifted away from the university. So the original business plan of Epyc was to become the academic MOOC factory. That was long before the concept of a MOOC even existed. But that was the, well, if there was a business plan, that was the idea of the two founders. But, well, doing research and doing business are two, well, totally different things. And instead of going up, well, Epyc really quickly went down very fast. So, and that is when Leuven Research and Development and Paul van Dun, one of the speakers I understand last week, he hired me. He was one of the guys. He was in our board of directors, in the Epyc board of directors, who hired me. I am a linguist, trained linguist at the University of Leuven. I joined Epyc in September 2003. So when Epyc existed 18 months approximately, and things were really going very bad. I had 2 years experience at the Department of Linguistics, where I worked on a European project called Lecticiel, that was computer assisted reading. So a kind of fast reading tool avant la lettre. And I saw a lot of links with the product that Mindstone, that Melody just presented, because Lecticiel, the European project we did, was kind of, but it was very basic, and it was very DOS, even DOS based, not even Windows. A way of going through large text corpuses in a very quick way. And then afterwards, I spent 7 years as a senior project manager at Transposia, where we localized educational games for which we bought the rights, the European rights in America. You see some of the characters of an American-based company for which we bought the rights, Humongous Entertainment, Freddy Fish, Putt Putt, Pajama Sam. So we bought the rights for that, and then changed those and made Dutch, French, Scandinavian, German versions of that, and put them on the market in Europe. I studied, when I joined Epyc on the 1st of September, that was in 2003, I studied the original business plan, and I found it a bit unrealistic. We would need a lot more money than we still had to realize what they had in mind. And as I said, that was not really my cup of tea. So I found the academic world, I'm sorry guys for all the academics among you, but I found it a little too slow. I missed the business mentality and a business finality. So, so I changed the course from the academic to business to B2B world. But luckily our ship was not a big tanker yet. We only were two. I was the captain and I had one seaman under my command. So it was kind of easy to, drift away from the university or, to put it in a more positive way, to change the course and set out in a new direction. So that was my plan, and how was I going to do it? Well, that was kind of difficult, and I did it by buying two things. And the first one was buying a calculator, and the second one was buying a decent coffee machine. The calculator, well, when I entered Epyc, I couldn't find a calculator anywhere. I don't know how my predecessors calculated offers and made up their budgets, but there was no calculator. So that made me think that the founders, they didn't really have a business mindset at all. They didn't think in concepts like client, customer, a product. They were still very much in a research mindset. They were kind of expert consultants. And one example is a big project they did, successful project they did, was they helped a big Belgian company in their research in finding the best learning management system to implement in that company, in that organization. And Epyc did a big research program. They did a comparison of more than 20 learning management systems, and then they had a big consultancy bundle, a dossier. They handed over. They were paid for the know-how and for the information, but the customer, bought the learning management system somewhere else. So Epyc didn't really have a product. And that is a good example of how Epyc was still very much a research engine, a research organization instead of a real company. And the second thing I bought was a decent coffee machine. I like my coffee very well done. So that was mainly my own interest, but I bought a coffee machine for my customers. I wanted really to put my customers first, and I wanted to offer them decent coffee. Because at the INI, which you all know, Wim, the building, the office where all the small spin-offs are, the young spin-offs are, there is a coffee machine, but the coffee is lousy. So I wanted to offer my customer, I wanted to talk to my customers, I wanted to invite my customers in my offices. Now, Epyc in the beginning had two offices, two small offices, one for each of the directors there were. And I changed that. I put all the personnel in one of the offices, and I changed the second one into a meeting room where I could put my coffee machine and where I could invite my customers and my clients and listen to them and listen to what they wanted and how I could find my unique selling proposition and find a market. And during my research in the beginning of the first weeks and first months, I spent at Epyc. This quote you see on screen, if things are still going okay. You follow the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. This became one of my mantras. With my background from a real multimedia company where we made interactive cartoon movies, really high quality interactive games for kids, I wanted to spice e-learning up, because 20 years ago e-learning was still, and sometimes it still is today, but then back then e-learning was really a kind of boring thing. There was a lot of reading to do. There was not much interaction to be found. It was just, well, plain boring. And I looked for a way in how we could be different. I wanted to come up with a story in which our customer was really in the center, and I was looking for attractive e-learning, a way to make e-learning attractive. And one of the first products we developed was called EduMap. And EduMap, the baseline is mapping your knowledge, is in fact is short for educational mind mapping. That is, I was a mind mapper before I joined Epyc. I used mind mapping a lot when I studied. And my idea was, well, why not introduce that visual representation in the world of e-learning? And in that way, offer the user a mental framework for the information, instead of just offering him a boring table of content-wise presentation, the old-fashioned way. We changed the presentation layer of how we presented our content. And that also allowed us to introduce a lot of multimedia in the e-learning. So after every one of those nodes and click points you see, there are animations, videos, interactions, exercises, a little test, a case, and that is really a kind of adventurous, an adventurous exploration experience for the user when he goes through that learning content. We didn't really invent the wheel again. It was in fact old wines that we just put in new bottles. We served it in new bottles. We just introduced the idea of mind mapping in the world of e-learning. And well, that allowed us to raise new capital from the university. So thanks again to Paul van Den. It also helped me in find some funding by the Institute of Science and Technology in Flanders. And especially, it's bought me a lot of credibility with my customers. It really changed our marketing, our market position, because we now, all of a sudden, we had a product, we had a vision on how good e-learning could be made and should be made. We had a story to tell, and a story that went down with my customers like a dream. So they really swallowed it, and it went down very easily. So, and this afternoon, I would invite you to have a look at a small demo video, demo clip that we created on education, on EduMap. So a second innovation a few years later was called Knowledge Compass. And Knowledge Compass is kind of the same story, where we were looking for a new way of presenting the old-fashioned exercises and tests and pre-tests and post-tests that you always have in traditional e-learning. So I thought that that old-fashioned way of testing and presenting exercises could also need some spicing up. So, and Knowledge Compass, and the baseline meten is weten, is to measure, is to know, in English, is a visual and very intuitive way to present tests. And here on this screen, you see again, well, I'm sorry, this is in Dutch. It is from a brochure that we launched, that we handed over to our customers. But here you see a dashboard with visual triggers, a bar diagram, visualizing correct and wrong answers, the functionality, show me my errors, so that you could corner your weaknesses. We introduced a two-layered feedback. So first feedback on a question, but then you could click through and have the content pop up, the actual content in the course material itself pop up, so that you have the larger context about the question that you just answered. We had a good learning advice chapter by chapter, so that really gave a good compass to the user to navigate through the course and to learn where he was good at, what he was good at, and where he had to study a little more. But again, with the, let's say, invention or the introduction of Knowledge Compass, that was the same thing as with EduMap. We introduced some new details and we made things a little more visible, and we created a kind of visually attractive environment. And the most important is we created a story. We had a vision. We created a vision on how good testing could be presented. But still, it was the same old wine that was just presented in a new way. And for that one too, for Knowledge Compass 2, we have a little demo clip this afternoon. And then a third innovation that we introduced.
Can I interrupt you here? You have a couple more minutes so that we have still some time for questions. If you could go quickly through.
Okay, and a third intervention, a third innovation that we had was we invented books. So everybody thought it was crazy, but when we launched our Hit the Road traffic media division, we had a business opportunity to start a driver's license training thing. We decided to introduce books and to use books, and everybody thought, well, why would an e-learning company use books? Well, we didn't just introduce books, but we created a fully integrated learning experience, because in the books we also incorporated QR animations. We used 360 videos. We also used Knowledge Compass as the exercise and test platform, and the presentation material for the teacher in class had a full one-on-one correspondence of the presentation with the material in the books. So it was not just using a book, but creating something new, a fully integrated learning experience. And that allowed us to become market leader in Belgium in less than 3 years with that particular approach. And then as we speak now, we are working on our next thing, that is Sequoia authoring. That is our new authoring tool that incorporates the knowledge that we have and that we acquired all those 20 years ago. So when I look back at our track record, we never really stopped innovating. We really continuously are looking for new ways of working. And I would say, well, to everybody, well, just start today. If you have an idea, well, just make a proof of concept, start modestly, take baby steps, do it proof of concept wise, with trial and error, and well, put your client first, really work client first. And yeah, that is the way we look at it. And as I said, we are not the proper research company, but we create our innovations well, this one. So I stop my share here. So
Okay.
everything's go right.
Thank you very much, Wim, for sharing your story. We do not have too much time for questions, but I was following a little bit what was said in the chat, and yeah, your story was a little bit provocative. If you said at a certain point, forget about the research and the university and the academic inspiration, let's say, and go to the real business. So there were a couple of things in the chat related to that. I'm sure that we could set up a full an animated discussion on that topic. But okay, maybe just one thought from your side here to add, and maybe spark discussion for this afternoon. I don't know.
It was my intention to be a little provocative. And well, my research when I created EduMap was very ad hoc, and I just interviewed a lot of people, and I did some interviews, and but I didn't have the time and I didn't have the money to do proper research. So that is, if you have it, and of course you need to have your story backed up, but I thought that my story was so strong that, and people intuitively or understand what I mean. So, and the visual aspect of learning is something that everybody really feels that it works. So, and we did some real, well, we did some testing afterwards. So, but we did some client and customer testing in the real functioning of how EduMap worked, but I didn't do it before I had the product. So I first launched the product, and then afterwards we did the user testing.
Yeah. Okay, I think there is also ways of networking with research units in universities, like Melody was also explaining. I think it's maybe not always the company itself that has to do the research, but if you have strong links with research units somewhere, that could also maybe help. But there are other messages in your story that are a bit less provocative, but nice lessons learned. No, it's okay. No, don't worry. I think that was exactly what we wanted to hear. So thank you for this.